man, like,
Whew.
winded.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Unsure Game. I'm your host, Rob. Welcome to Stream Street Day. I don't even know. 314, 318, over 300 days. And I'm joined by Mr. Joe Krier of the second best ETC team from 2019. Were you even second best?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
keep second.
or first loser is another way to describe it. So hello everyone at the hello everyone at the chat. Git Lee, Disco Dolly, Gursey, Bobbin. Oh, Bobbin. Thanks for joining Patreon the other day. Big love. Greetings from Sweden. Have the kids day. Only here to get the numbers up. Oh, thanks, Bobbin. Big love. Grinaldi, Scott B, Liberator Man. Hello. Jug PLC. Liberator Man, very excited to see you to hook up with the other 59 Liberator Men that you need right now. Datcom. Hi. Dwarf Penguin. Hermanista. Burger Meister time. Big love. AOSP dropping in. Thank you to help use numbers. Big love to you, Hermanista. Right. Hello, gang. Hello, gang. So, mainly today, Joe, and podcast listeners, please stay hydrated. Love you tons. We are going to be discussing some of the FAQ stuff that you were talking about. But I'm mainly going to be taking questions from the chat. Or if the chat want to drop in, like, Rob, I'm working on this thing. I'd kind of like to hear about it because we've had a pretty hectic few days. 40k adjacent show, Monday show was busy, Saturday, Sunday there was a lot going down, so it would just I don't know, because I do this all the time now, when I have 5 or 6 days of just a lot of work happening, a lot of other people on the show or subjects, sometimes I like to pull back and I'm like, I wonder how all my bros in the chat are doing, so I'm going to be doing that a little bit as well.
Yeah, we're just background noise today. That's all we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the chat's actually important. We're just the background noise.
They're what power me through every day, which is good. Hey, Hakin, Tusconicus, nailed it. Scrunty Hugh, big love. All right, so Joe, how have you been? Joe Krier, by the way, an American agency from Minnesota. How have you been?
Good. Staying inside. I live alone, so it's just been me and my four walls for a little while. But it's kind of the same for everyone, right?
Yeah. It's tough, and obviously you're in America as well, so it's a whole different life. Couple of things in the chat. What was your favourite update in the FAQ? Says Ziggy. Fucking Ziggy. Do you feel your protest was worth it? Fucking hell, Zig.
I'm trying to have the chat up, but I don't have a good spot for it. I need to actually figure out how to get this up so I can without breaking everything around my computer.
I feel like the protest. I feel like the protest at least brought us a conclusion. That's all you really want sometimes. Is you just want to know. So we at least got that. So that was good. Ziggy, really nice to see you, by the way. So Mick Wendell, really love to see you. Lovely to see you. Also, Davidians. Oh God. First time watching live, appreciate you. And I finally got your name wrong as well. That's a tradition of the show. Normally listen to podcasts on 1.5 speed. Amazing how slow Rob speaks. No one has ever listened to me on 1.5. What I always think, Rob, you talk too fast anyway. Yeah, and I should slow it down. And there's someone out there who's like, faster, bitch. Faster. What is that like? Christ.
Wasn't it you on Christmas that you were just like, I'm going way too off the rails? It was your third day that you were just zooming through your sentences, and you're just like, I just slowed down.
Yeah, I have to. Sometimes if I've had a hectic morning, I sit down and be like, hi everyone, slowly, welcome to the show. Slack your times. When you need your Games Workshop content from Alvin and the Chipmunks, bang it on 1.5. There we go. Hello, Colonel Cabbage. Grinaldi watches Hayware on 1.5 speed. That is pretty serious. Joe, I've lost my love of Zinch, says. Joe, you're a big... Mick was running Change Host for a long time. I love my loss of Zinch and need inspiration for enjoyable lists. It's a good first question. Have you got... Conrad's on, welcome. Have you got a good suggestion for something spicy, some fun Zinch stuff?
I think I've got 12 or 15 Zinch lists in the app right now. What kind of list? What models do you have? Is there a model or a unit that you're trying to make good, or is there just something that you're like, I have an idea for this and I just need the push in the right direction? All of them. I mean, yeah, same. But which ones are your favorite out of all of them? Or list a couple, I don't know.
Okay, mix. I said all of them. So I'd love to play a good
Yeah.
Arkanites list. So you take a moment to look at it. I'll just chat to the chat for a sec. Tom Layton is the only person I struggle with at 1.5 speed. I struggle with him at 1.0 speed, which is, I don't know. You should try commentating with him. I'm like, Christ alive, how fast is your brain? I think he's got 2 in there, which explains the hair. I think the hair's alive in doing that.
For Tom.
Yeah, Andrew, I'm usually a hydro homie popping by. Been listening and painting last night. Didn't read the FAQ because you were covering it. Luckily, the 5mm gave us something to talk about. I also got a WhatsApp of Nathan. He was like, "Can you print me a 60mm paint?" Which made me cry laugh. Go on, what's some Arkanites
That's been the
you've got?
funniest part of the fact, actually, is watching Nathan shave his base down the because anyone would actually.
It reminds me of the time Jabs in 1990. Thanks for resubscribing, big love. Thanks so much. It reminds me of the time Nathan got pepper sprayed. We were out, so it was Joe Purcell's wedding, and we were out afterwards. So we'd obviously been to the wedding, we'd done some dancing, and we went out on the town after. Anyway, there was a riot up the street with loads of people fighting, and then indiscriminately, like Nathan was like 40 feet away from the fight, and indiscriminately, a policeman just walked over and pepper sprayed him. Yeah, and that's how I feel the FAQ is again, years later. Yeah.
Well, that's actually just how all the protests were in the U.S. in like early last year, but
Yeah.
So it's just continuing the cycle, I guess. Yeah, I've got an idea for a list if Mick wants to at least go with the skeleton of a list because it's got an extra like 200 points you can mess around with. Maybe maybe adjust it a little bit. Throw in some
Talk
things.
to us about it.
Yep. So we're gonna go with the Pyrophane cult, the one that, at least if I remember correctly, that's the one that affects the Carrick Acolytes, right?
Yeah.
So you're running the Witchfire Coven, 2 30-packs, a 10-pack, and then a 3-pack of Enlightened. You can pick discs, pick feet. If you're saving points, it really doesn't matter. I mean, on feet, they still do they still cap damage at 20 damage for all 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And when they're re-rolling and they're screened out by 10 Carrick Acolytes, they can pile in. They've got 2-inch reach. They're going to do enough damage to not really care that you don't have the discs. But if you have the points, which you do in this list, you could take them on discs instead. That's what 60 points per disc now, isn't it? They've gotten up a little bit. Yeah. But it's Lord of Change, the Fate Master, Be'lakor as an ally, the 70 Carrick Acolytes, and then the 3 Enlightened in the Witchfire Coven, and then a Soul Scream Bridge. Gives you 200 points, and realistically, just pick your poison out of that 200. You can run some Untamed Beasts, add screens to your to those Carrick Acolytes, keep them alive a little bit longer. Lord of Change over Karos. It's again personal preference. I love Fate Weaver. I love him to death. But the Pyrophane cult has a relic, if I remember correctly. Let me pull it up here, where you're shooting on the relic on 6s to hit, do D3 mortal wounds instead, or 6s to wound. Pyrophane cult, where are you at?
I mean, one of the advantages has got to be surely when you are taking. Oh, by the way, I'm painting while I'm talking to you guys. There you go. One of the advantages of obviously taking a non-named character is the ability to take a command trait and an artifact, right? That has to be
yep,
and obviously Fate Weaver's got his own abilities as well, so it's really the trade-off which you prefer. So Rod plus artifact for some mortal wound chip damage is what we're being suggested. Is that the idea?
Yeah, well, yeah. So there's that, and then you get so the command trait is subtract 1 from hit rolls from missile weapons. Seems fine on the general, and then you get unmodified hit rolls of 6s. It's great for a Lord of Change when he's just chilling by himself like this. And then 6s to hit with missile weapons, do D3 mortal wounds, and then the attack sequence ends. So he's got a 2d6 shotgun that's 6s to hit, do D3 mortal wounds, and that is the only time I would ever take the gun on the bird. I guess maybe Pyrophane. I guess maybe Eternal Conflagration. You could take the gun, but realistically, you're just gonna run because the extra rend. But otherwise, you just for me, I usually take the sword because rend 2-3 damage a pop has been really nice. Just in case he gets into combat, he's able to actually deal some damage versus just scratching at his opponent.
Yeah, I feel
So
like I feel the output on the Lord of Change. I mean, it's a 2-cast wizard, which kind of triggers me. Like there's a lot about the Lord of Change War Scroll that triggers me, like compared to other casters.
if
Like
we want to talk about triggering Lords of Change, we should talk about the Exalted one, because I will go off for hours on the Exalted one.
about how bad it is.
I love him to death, but he is absolute garbage.
100 points for 6 wounds is basically all you get, right?
Yeah, +1 save and 6 wounds, and then he can't eat endless spells like the regular, like the small ones can.
Yeah, and still only casts 2 spells. Like, it's 2 spells.
480
Yeah, and there's an
480
Arc Regent who's like, I mean, I'm not blessed by Tzeentch, but I can cast 2 spells. Yeah, which is just
and
really
I can do 160 damage or something like that, 120 damage. Or whatever.
I don't know why Games Workshop purposefully. I mean, that is an intentional thing. So I agree with Mick in the chat. He's like, Forge World needs to die. I think when the Forge World stuff like had some sort of like some sort of integration into the game, although it oftentimes just ended up having some broken rules. It's just some models that exist with some terrible rules because they're like, don't buy this, buy the plastic. And you're like, are you sure, guys? And they're like, we're really sure. Look how bad this is. You're like, okay. They're like, what about the dragon, though? Looks brilliant. Why wouldn't I want to play it? They're like, we've made it 1,200 points. Like, oh, okay. I won't do that then. But thanks. Appreciate you.
You want to know? You want to know what's funny about the dragon being 1,200 points and now 1,100 points?
Yeah.
Talk to some people about it, and they're like, yeah, well, like it's that expensive because like, yeah, it can die, but like, what if you like? How do you balance the other stuff that you can take with it? And I just kind of like looked at Croak, and then I was just like, cool, and then moved on with the conversation.
I remember the funniest one of the funniest times I've ever had is watching the joy on Speckles' face when we were at an event. I think it was Sheffield Slaughter. He's like, guess what I've just done? I was like, I don't know. He's like, I just charged the Corn Dragon. I was like, with your Gore King on Terrorgeist? I was like, yeah. He's like, killed him in one go. He was like, the guy's face was awful, and I was like, amazing. I was like, amazing. And he was like smiling. He's like, I'm gonna go back now, buy him a beer. He's my best friend. And I...
So I love Speckles. I ran the Corn Dragon in a tournament beginning of 2019, I think, and I played against like before Cities came out. I played against the old Darkwing Covens with the old Executioners, and 10 Executioners had the battalion where they could charge in the hero phase and fight.
Yeah.
So with the +1 to hit from the Hurricane, 10 Executioners charged, did like 18 mortal wounds, and then like 8 more damage, and then 1 repeater bolt thrower was like, "Hey, dragon," and just fell over, and I was like,
poor bastard.
10 little elves just walked up and just decapitated.
Poor bastard. That's all I could ever think. Like, there are so many people stood out there, which is so. Like, I'll get onto one of the other things that came up recently. Don't mention the dead frog ever. And also, thank you to MJ Pegasus for subscribing again. You're a superstar. Big love. So one of the things, Joe, I need to get your opinion. Obviously, Twitch chat. I don't know if it's still a hot topic, but I'd love to get your opinion on the FAQ. Like, I'd like to hear what you got to say on it. We've had our say. I felt, I don't know about you, and I've been a little bit concerned over the past couple of days because there's been quite a lot of fallout online and a lot of like sniping and indirects. But I tried to stay fairly positive and constructive. I thought. I don't know about you, like versus how I've been in the past. So actually, I'm hopeful none of those.
You stepped up at least, yeah.
Yeah, I hope none of those criticisms directed my way because I was like, I really tried to just like have a laugh with it, like, but it's genuinely disappointing. Like it is, right?
Absolutely.
Like so, like what are your feelings on it?
So I've actually made a list of all the things that they didn't need metadata for, that they're like, we didn't have enough data. And it's like, all right, well, what about all of these things that you affected other stuff similarly, but didn't do these? And the one to start off with first is the base sizes, because they did the mushroom, right?
Yep.
So we have the Endron Master in Dirigible Suit, not in the base size list, that new character hero.
Okay.
We have Demons of Chaos. There's a whole bunch of lists of like units or like unit like arm like model or like army, like you remember like way back in the day that like, all the little sub factions of stuff.
Yep.
Like Demons of Chaos, Swift Talk Agents, whatever. All of those are like the Demons of Chaos has all Slaves of Darkness units in it, but they're in their own Demons of Chaos section. And then in that, the Furies say that they're on 25 mils, but the new Furies come on 32s.
Good. Keep going. What? Wait, Joe. In your spare time, have you just QA'd the FAQ? Is this what we're about to experience?
Yeah.
I'm really into this. Please continue. This is. This reminds me of the scene in Private Ryan. This reminds me of the scene in Private Ryan when he's like, "Now listen up, Ryman. This is how you bitch." Yeah.
All right, so next we have in the same box as Ender Master, we have the Magister on disc. We have the Lord of Pain, the new Slash Hero. No. Yep. No.
Wow. Okay.
We have the Lord of Pain from the new Slash Hero. We also have the Melusai, but let's stick with the actual order of the thing. We have literally every Warcry Warbrand monster and hero.
Yeah.
Still don't have base sizes. And you might be like, well, okay, but those all have like different like sizes in basing, like in their actual like unit description, right?
Yeah.
But they have the Eyes of Nine from Underworlds listed as which models have which base size, and like under the Eyes of Nine. So they did the Eyes of Nine way back in the day. 2 of those are 25 mils. The rest of them are 32s. They're like all 32s. For these 2 are on 25, so they could have done the same thing here. All the Warcry stuff. We have the 4 units in the Sons of Behemoth Army. So like all the Mega Gargants don't have base sizes, or the Man Crusher Gargants no base size. They're not even in the thing. They're not even in the list.
Okay. I mean, to be fair, if anyone's new, this is really important. If anyone's new and they weren't in the original Age of Sigmar kind of like community, actually the base size FAQ or whatever you want to call it, guide, is actually what it is and was very important, because for a long time, Games Workshop would still sell models with square bases. For a long time, years after the launch of Age of Sigmar.
Dragon Ogre still come with them actually right now.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wrong. Come on, boys, you got this. We're going to hold a new sign out. I'm going to go hold a new sign. It's like, do you need any help? Will be in the sign. Willing to help for Jam.
We'll do the whole like look through the window thing and be like, not him again.
T-Man Cash says, I can't take the notion Games Workshop is in a holding pattern for AOS rules updates changes due to the coming AOS 3. And they are using COVID as an excuse now so they don't have to tip their hand officially. T-Man Cash, I'd agree with you a lot on that statement. But, like, the justifications and the reasonings behind it, like, we could get into, and I think it becomes, like, quite a swampy conversation, like, where everyone's fairly entrenched. Some people are like, oh, they're trying hard. And I'm like, when have they ever tried hard? Show me an example ever. And they're like, yeah, like maybe they gave you a book. And I'm like, they sold me a book. You know, like, so I'm obviously like, I can't have that conversation that doesn't like end up with me thinking that there's not always a negative back end. However, that's not the fun part, really. Let's just do the front part. So again, talking about bases, the important part about the bases is when there were square bases, or even when they were models with no bases, what we needed was a guide. And so Mo Comp, back in the day, all hell Mo, he put out official base sizes for stuff, and then eventually Games Workshop finally caught up and did that a couple of years later, which is great for us as a community, because then we know what the base sizes are and stuff, which is cool. It is a bit of a shame when they like flip-flop. The reason I laugh so much when Nathan had to rebase his mushroom the other day is because actually they've changed. Not many people will know this because almost no one runs Gargants ever until the new Mega Gargants. But over the course of the past 4 years, I think they've changed the size of the Gargant base like 4 times. And so Nathan's Gargants have been on so many...
Bone Ripper.
Yeah, Nathan's Gargant's been on like 4 different bases. It's hilarious. Every time he'd like ring me, like they've changed the base size on the Gargants again. I'm like... Because after a while I was like, brilliant. I was like, it's your own fault for taking Gargants every time. He's like, no, they are the best ones in the old book. I like them so much, right? So the base size guide is actually really important for a whole bunch of different reasons. And it's a bit of a shame that are we done with the list of stuff that Screamers were originally on 60mm bases. Yeah, Mick. Was there a time when Plague Drones were on ovals, not round? I think there was.
I think so. Yeah, I
Ziggy,
think like when they first dropped in 40K, I think, or something like that. Yeah, I think they're on ovals.
yeah. Oh, big shout out
Because
to
yeah,
Good Patrol.
because they like the monstrous cap bases in old fantasy, and then they had the oval bases in 40K. So I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Agreed. Big shout out to Borningham Manchild in the chat. I hope you're well. Also, Darker Design says, oh wait, no, Ziggy said, sorry. I mean, the chat's going wild. We forget the GHB 2020 was also crap for actual points and scroll fixes. Agreed with that. It's more what 3 rounds of updates with certain things broken. Yes. Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Someone mentioned I've changed my Harbinger of Decay 3 times, says P.
Is it the metal one or the fine cast one? Because if it's the metal one, that's stressful. So if it's the fine cast one, I don't even know how to help you with that one.
Yeah,
It's just going to break its leg.
Screamers should be on ovals. Screamers should be on the same base as as eels.
Yeah.
And they're not.
Should.
They're on ridiculous bases. No. Yeah.
32s,
okay.
yep.
Right. So, for God's sakes. So, okay, we're not going down that road. We all appreciate. So the base size thing is kind of useful, but they haven't updated a bunch of them, right?
Yep. And so after that, we have the Shadow Stalkers. Same with
Hold on,
the Melissa Hero.
Someone wants me to shout out to the Winter FAQ, so shouting it out, Donald DDO. Oh, Loiber, thanks for donating £14 to 52p to the show. That's absolutely brilliant of you. Which is, I think he's done the very specific math to work out how he gets a 69
69%?
in the number row. No, it's not 69%. He's got 6. He's done it anyway. Thanks. I really massively appreciate that. I can't tell you how much. So big love to you. Carry on, Joe. Sorry, you were saying.
You're good. So yeah, we have the Shadow Stalkers, the Moonlight Hero, and then along the same lines of the Mega Gargants, the entire Lumineth Battle Tome. And then we're getting another Lumineth release, and we still don't even have the first one in the actual base sizes.
What is the Teclis's actual base size? Is he a 110 round?
He's a 160.
No, he's not.
No, he's a 130. No, 130. Yeah.
Wow. Because I think it actually would be really interesting to see what the general base. Because I think Alariel, Archeon, and Mega Boss and Maulcrush are all the same 160s, which is the biggest they do. And some of the smaller, like the Taurolon. Not that you rarely see it, apart from the guy who went 9th place in Australia at the weekend. What the fuck? The Taurolon.
Heatwing plus Toleron, right?
Yeah, it's only on an 80, I think. It's not even on 100 mil. It's like a tiny base.
Yeah, they're very small.
Yeah, what's a Taurolon?
I wanted to use Teclis's wings.
Huh?
What up? Oh yeah, yeah. I wanted you to use the Teclis's wings on the Exalted Lord of Change. Like we were talking about the 3D printed wings I put on there instead. But I wanted to use Teclis's wings, and then I opened the sprue box and I was like, they're this big.
They're tiny.
Teclis's wings. They're yeah. I'm like, okay, never mind. Not gonna buy that because too small.
Yeah,
is weird. The image you see on your phone of Teclis is the actual size of Teclis. He is the smallest model I've ever seen on that big of a base.
He's really more of a diorama, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, for sure.
So some questions in the chat. Sorry, Donaldinho, thanks very much for donating at £1.10p. Appreciate you, just to ruin the numbers. He did that the other day when we got to 69%, which is his favourite new thing to do. Teclis is the ugliest model that's been released in the past 5 or 6 years, says Mick, and I think I would have to agree, but that's a personal thing. And Sergeant Rolf said, by the way,
I actually like the Sphinx, but Teclis himself is ugly. Agreed.
Yeah. And then Sergeant Rolf says, I know what you mean. Did you guys tell Nathan that 60mm base is 60mm on the top, not the bottom diameter? I'm waiting, because I think he measured the bottom, which does, because it bows out, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean?
I'm pretty sure that, I'm pretty sure the bottom is actually is 60. For every other base size, the bottom of it is actually the right size.
The bottom's the right size, right? And then the top is a different size, because when you touch bottom to bottom, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Scrivo, thanks for donating 169 to the show. Oh, nice. Now we got 319.69. You children, which I love. Thanks. Right, so moving on from base sizes, where are we at next?
So from what I could tell, I think that was all of them. I mean, I kind of condensed a whole lot of them. We could have done the entire Lumineth by name. We could have done every Warcry unit by name. but I just did them in groups.
Yeah, that's
so fair. I mean, it's actually a lot, but we don't have that much time. We probably do, but we're not going to do that.
No. They don't have base sizes is the answer.
Put them up. Yeah. You actually have to walk them around on their feet on the. You just can't base them. They don't have base sizes.
I know it sounds really pedantic to everyone in the chat, but like for a while, at least in the competitive Age of Sigmar community, the base sizes of the models was genuinely very important, and it still is. I think Mick's point. I don't think I've even thought about the fact that Screamers shouldn't be on those ridiculous rounds until I've run 69 last week. I was like trying to fit him in. I was like, these don't really fit in at all. Yeah, this is terrible. And I was like, and then he's now gone. If they were on small ovals, that would work really well, and they would be a much more. They would be a better unit. And I hadn't thought that through in any way. Okay. Did you see the thing about the points? Did you see the thing about the points?
Which one?
Okay, so what happened was on the website they haven't updated
the Night Haunt.
There's a Night Horn and also Colonel Cabbage, thanks for donating £1.40. Big love. Big love. So yeah, they updated the points, but they didn't update the points effectively. They just rolled back old points on the website, but they gave it a new name. However, this confused a bunch of people, and I think it was Pete who pointed it out to me, that what's happened is like the website says that there are some updated points, or not updated points, but like it's got a new like timestamp on it, if you will. But the GHB obviously supersedes them because really they're just points from the old time. It basically is really confusing because you don't know where the official points are, and they should be in the GHB obviously. So I haven't ever trusted Azir. Like I don't know what point in time there was the like 30-inch range Iron Gut attack, which I think they should have kept personally. But like, just saying, they could have thrown it like a club. Yeah, just saying that's fine with me. So I don't know what the situation is there, but like I only trust War Scroll Builder. Like that's the only thing I trust for building lists. I don't trust Azir at all. Never have. They don't update it for months at a time anyway. So I don't even know if the points that are in there now.
Part of that's someone said in this list that I made.
Oh no, okay, sorry. You carry on with your list. Sorry, you carry on with your list. I don't want to jump around.
Oh no, that's fine. That's fine. So for points updates that they could have done, obviously is Seraphon. The skin compression that we've been doing has been before COVID, so they've had data pre-COVID on Seraphon, and then the entire length of COVID. Yeah, and Tzeentch, right? But they touched Tzeentch a little bit with with the Flamers, I think, and they did like one or two other updates, like the pinks went up 20 points or something like that. So like that happened in the previous ones. Yeah, but could have done that. Could have done Skinks, Croak, Tzeentch, then Deepkin, and then for the Deepkin, it's the Eels, right? Like they had information on Eels. I mean, everyone said this forever. Like they've had one list with Eels forever. Mm-hmm. And then I actually screenshotted and posted a list that they put down themselves, like in their Meta Watch that they've done.
Yeah.
Did you actually read their Meta Watch article on Eels or on Deepkin? Sorry.
Never. I wouldn't read it. No.
So the list that they put on their Meta Watch is Volturnos, a Scryer, an Eidolon, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units of Moorstar Guard. And then 2 packs of other wings. Yeah. That's the whole list that they put on their Meta Watch article. And there's no problem with that, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. DJ Batman, thanks for gifting a gift subscription to Moobs in the chat. That's really appreciated. Absolutely. So yeah, no, you're right. So like the statement that there was no data, it was obviously false. Not only because of like independent data, but obviously because of data already that was at real life tournaments. So yeah, you are already correct that was disingenuous ultimately as a statement.
And their last Meta Watch date, their last Meta Watch post was January 21st.
Oh, yes.
So they've had data, they've been posting data this whole time, but whatever. So rules changes that they would have had information on pre-COVID. Again, back to the Exalted Lord change. He was never brought in line with his book. Every other Exalted Demon was brought in line with their books. Like the Slanesh one just became a regular keeper with slightly different rules. Same with the Nurgle one. Basically is the same Guard and Clean one. The Bloodthirster gained a lot of the Bloodthirster rules. They felt the Lord of Change, cannot eat spells, 100 extra points still, only a double cast. Big problems with him.
At least you're not personally,
like,
at least you're not personally offended by it.
Oh man.
Wait, is the Great Unclean one from Forge World in line with the other Great Unclean ones now?
I mean, I think he's around the same points, or he does similar things. I think he's just like a normal combat variant, pretty much. But he fits in all of their battalions. They're like, you can take a Great Unclean one. He fits in all of those. The Bloodthirster could fit in all those battalions. This Keeper can fit in all the Keeper battalions. The Lord of Change fits in no battalion. Same with Fate Weaver. Unlike every other God's book.
Okay, I appreciate.
Talk about him.
I appreciate you actually going back and checking the times, and you're like, oh no, actually we had data on this. Like, oh okay. Someone pointed out to me that the Seraphon skipped the GHB, Seraphon and Tzeentch skipped the GHB, and then the Winter Points update. So actually they've had since launch. I mean, you haven't really been able to play with Seraphon anywhere in the world because of COVID and everything else. But they've had they'll have had a year. I mean, Deepkin have had 3, but that's a different conversation. So. You can skip that forever. So they'll have had a year. So I mean, I think you can kind of condense it, can't you? Say yes, they obviously had the information. No, they didn't do anything. Get to the chopper. Thanks for subscribing. Big bonus
Pinks,
to you.
Yeah, the Pinks and the Flamers did go up 20 points in the first and in the GHB though from the book. They did. So
and then I think war scroll change. See, that's the interesting thing. Like they had the only data that they really had for Tzeentch. So summoning the 10 pink horrors from be it in Legion of Chaos Ascendant or from the fella that does it. That guy, whatever his name is, Summoner, Gaunt Summoner. Yeah, they changed that down to 5. So there were some changes, I think. But yeah, please continue.
It was good because I was gonna run a list that summoned 450 models in a turn, but it's okay. But they fixed that, so can't do that anymore. So yeah, we have that. The Slave of Darkness battalions. So they did this with the Flesh Eater Court fac, where they named now the Aberrant Ghoul Kings and the royal family can't have mounts, because how the rules work with name the title of the unit, the name of a unit, and keywords. You could take any of the Ghoul Kings on Terrorgeist or just regular Ghoul Kings with the royal family battalion.
Yep.
The Slaves of Darkness book does the same thing, except for they list out every single name of a Chaos Lord.
Yep.
So Chaos Lord on Karkadrak, Chaos Lord on Manicore, whatever. They could just either do keyword Chaos Lord or name Chaos Lord, and they would have just skipped all of those printing lines.
Right.
But they didn't. They could have done that with all of that stuff. And then they actually gave. So one of the weird things in this fact is they actually gave Tzeentch a buff, which is the Changeling can now cast as many times as he wants, as long as he casts on 9 or above. Right. Which is actually counterintuitive to the main rulebook's FAQ on the abilities that give extra attacks cannot generate extra attacks. There's a question that says, can this be used with spells? And the answer is, does this apply to spells? And the answer is yes. So abilities that make spells get you extra spells isn't supposed to happen, but then they just gave it to the change, the change caster. So but no one else can except for him right over here.
It's a hard and fast rule apart from this one guy. Oh, okay. All right, fine. Okay, good. Yeah, good.
Yep. And then obviously they should have had information on the spell in the bottle. It could that could have just been fixed.
I mean, it's
again, the Mortal Mighty Mushroom being 90 points.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the other article that I screenshotted, it has a list with the vortex in there, and apparently it's not a problem. So that's still only 80 points. And then there's an FAQ. Then I just kind of mentioned this because it's in the FAQ. Another tip. There you go. £10. There you go.
I just want to say thank you to Primark for donating £10 to the show. Big love. Yeah. That's great.
And then in the FAQ, what up?
You carry on. I'll type. You carry on. You're talking really good stuff.
And then in the FAQ, they mentioned Skies of Slaughter. Again, the GHB, I don't even know what that is. I think it's part of their narrative thing in there. They needed an FAQ on, so that was important. But there was no data on their narrative stuff, right? Because no games have been played. But there's a narrative FAQ in this FAQ that we got.
Good. That's what I wanted.
It's just confusing. And then if they weren't doing it, so after all of this, if they weren't doing any of this stuff, like maybe they could have been working on the app, right?
Yeah,
would have been nice. None of the White Dwarf battalions or armies are in the app to date. Like none of them. Like the Slanesh one from a year ago, all the ones previous to that, like Stormcast ones, the Slanesh ones, the Gloomspite ones. None of these battalions, none of these factions are actually in the app whatsoever. So if you wanted to build like the Jaws and Mork in the app, you just have to add the units in, and then you just have to assume you have the right points for the battalions because they're not in the app. If you want the Celeste Coast for Slanesh, can't use that because it's not actually in the app. But it is allowed and it is legal because they did the whole list in the last FAQ, right? That says like these are all the books that are legal. All of those White Dwarf battalions, not in the app, which they've had for over a year for some of them. Some of them only a few months, right? Takes them a while to add those in, but they've not added none of them in. That could have been nice.
I think that's one of the things. Like, I need to do a couple of things. I want to thank Malkador for gifting a gift subscription to Arju, and also to Jackie Chan 199. Big love to you. Thanks very much, Malkador. That's really awesome of you. And to Colonel Cabbage for donating £1.64 so that it reads all the threes, which is obviously flawless. There's some real OCD going on there in the community. Also, a couple of things being said in the chat, which I think is absolutely fair. From where was it? Ziggy, thanks for donating £36 to the show as well, and that takes us to $369.69. You're all children, but I appreciate it so much. I want to read the comments. Oh, Ziggy, thank you very much. He came in and gave me shit for like 20 minutes about being a Tory. And then he donated some money. So
Scott, me either. Scott B, me either, man. I don't know.
I love that they're all doing math at home. What was the point I wanted to fucking read? I really appreciate that. Thank you. The data excuse is that an excuse. They straight up decided not to bother, whether because of lack of resource or because they know new edition's coming or what. But yeah, the data excuse is not an excuse, but I think stop being a Tory, Ralph. That's the suggestion. Okay. There's something else in here. There's certainly a need for a fan-run website that collects stuff like up-to-date rules, sources, points, and bases sizes, says Azrang, and I agree with that as well. Just FYI, Games Workshop knows the rules appear in White Dwarf before they are issued in print. Dave, that's the point that's where we were at and what I was trying to get at. Like, the concept is like they've only been out in their White Dwarf print, so like, in order for that to occur, this is the process. The rules guys write it, they put it in White Dwarf, and then it's like, yeah, we're going to have to wait 2 months for this to get updated on the app. No! Like, he could have gone like, hey, White Dwarf guys, here's the files. App guys, here are the files. Day one. It's that easy. Like, it's that...
Like I'm pretty sure there's an ability to be like, all right, midnight when this book releases, hit the button, go. like it's a free update, right? It's just in a White Dwarf. Like, even sure, make it cost $5 to read it in the actual app. Like, I don't care. Just put because all the battalions are in the app, right? Like, even if you don't buy the book, the battalion is in the app. Like, just the name, like, not the rules, but who cares? Like, the name of the battalion is in the app, regardless of if you buy the book or not. So just give us the name of the battalions and the points so we can just have it in there. But
yeah,
what do we know?
Yeah, I mean, Z makes a point, and Scott B, and a lot of the other guys in the chat, and I think also MJ Pegasus made the point as well. One of the things that we also need to... thanks for... thanks to Sorry Ziggy for donating £1.31. Who is this? Some random other person who's taking a piss out of Ziggy to just change. Someone would have got a name. Oh my God. Brilliant. This reminds me of all the random Twitter accounts that we've had over the time. The Twitter accounts, like the random Twitter accounts, make me fucking laugh sometimes.
Have you seen the Snickers account that's been commenting on all the Warhammer stuff?
Snickers?
Yeah, there's like a Snickers like thing that, and then like I think you're talking to Tristan the other day, and Tristan's like, "Thanks, candy bar," and he's like, "Yeah, no problem. That's why I'm here." It's just a picture of a Snickers.
Uh, Pete says, I think they can only update the app when a certain combination of planets. Listen, like, I'm laughing. Okay, I want to express something now. I think there's been a lot of like genuine upset online, and I think all of it is valid. I think.
Yeah.
Other than, obviously, and I'm going to say this, like personal attacks, obviously. With the exception of that, everything else is absolutely valid. Like, absolutely valid. And it's absolutely worthwhile in also stating that ignoring personal attacks, like holding responsible and or communicating displeasure to people responsible for these jobs is also, like, I think, a valid form of conversation and not protest, but like it's worthwhile saying, hey, I think this is rubbish and you could do better, and here's my reasons why.
Hey, I spend thousands of dollars like a month or a year or whatever on your project.
Yeah, I'm trying to make a serious point, but Centaur Goddess Thighs has just donated £6.69 to the show. And Centaur Goddess Thighs, DM me afterwards, is all I'm going to say. You all know my feelings about Centaur ladies.
And then if a Centaur has goddess thighs, she'd actually have 4, wouldn't she?
Yeah. Have you not heard that bit? Like, have you seen the really fit Centaur lady? Have you seen this?
I don't know. You'll have to send it to me later.
Oh my god. Because normally you just think of Centaur men, but I don't know if you've seen like some well-fied Centaur ladies, but oh my god. Like,
I think I've seen a cosplay of it actually, so no.
DJ Batman, thanks also for donating 30 quid to the show. You guys, by randomly donating £1 and also donating under pseudonyms of sexually evocative animals that I enjoy, have got us to our target, which is fucking cool. Oh, I really wasn't expecting that today. That's really fucking lovely, thanks. Anyway, DJ Batman, thanks so much. I hope I can get to go to your wedding. Right, so it's the downside of becoming a social media person. You take the central position unless the opposite. So I don't want to get into that too much, but I will say, and I mean this quite clearly, like I said this yesterday on the show yesterday, like Games Workshop's exploded, and also the community has exploded, and what it has been okay for us for several years, like the app, which is not okay really, or how we're treated in the FAQs, which is not okay really, and how we're always side product to fucking 40k, which is not okay really. I don't in any way advocate for the idea that like they're resource starved. That's ridiculous. Like, they made so much money. You just buy more people. You just like, you'll do the job. Look at Joe. Joe, like, if they'd have rang you and said, look, I'll give you, I don't know, let's make it a pathetic amount, $100, yeah? And you'd be like, Joe, will you just collate all the points for us? You'd have been like, yeah, no problem. Right? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah? Like, not even much of their, their millions.
Updating, right, yeah, like we're just gonna like, hey Joe, like we want to update the base sizes with all of the base sizes. Can you just like list all the things that we're missing? Yes, let's go.
Like, so Darren's just made it into the chat, so big love to Darren and to Ziggy for donating on 131. But also, like, so Darren and a bunch of other, there's people out there who've written whole battle tomes, right, for other armies. Whole battle tomes, yeah, like, and they're like, I'm gonna make sure. Anyway, I've got loads I could unpack about that different subject, so it doesn't matter. I'm not trying to. It's an old subject, so it doesn't matter. Imagine how we who play Middle Earth feel, not only playing second field of 40k, but also to AOS. I'm so sorry. And thank you to Frost Giant from the North for donating £1 to the show. I appreciate the loads. But yeah, what my point was, there's been a lot of like disappointment, is what I was going to say, and I think the disappointment's valid. I don't know if I was going to make any other points. Honestly, Centaur Quad Thighs or whatever her name was really threw me off. So really hoping she DMs me later.
I think we need someone to do a mating realms of the, or like a mating rituals of the mortal realms for Centaurs for you. I think.
Some more ladies. Yeah, don't worry. Anyway, what other things did they miss?
Yeah, I've got two things on here that are left. One more for the app, which is Idolator Lords. You know how they did the whole Marathi thing?
Yeah.
All the Marathi factions are in there, but Chaos doesn't have the Idolator Lord unit in its faction, and there's no way to make a chariot into an Idolator Lord in the app that I could tell. If anyone else figured it out, let me know. But I tried to make an Idolator an actual list for them. There's no way to make the chariot a lord, and that's the whole deal for it, isn't it? For idolaters, is to have the chariot lord be a lord.
So they fixed that. So you can still have the lord. To be honest, that's the one kind of positive change.
No. In the app though, there's no way to make a chariot into the lord in the app.
Oh, we're still talking about the app. The app doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to do anything positive today, quickly download the app, go into the App Store, just give it a 1 star. Just if you're feeling frustrated at all, be like, yeah, this is petty, but that'll help me out loads. Yeah, just give it a 1 star. Yeah.
And then if you're not feeling petty and just productive, you can do it to the 40K one too, probably. But that's another story.
And then another thing, I wouldn't even download the app with your phones. Another great opportunity to go onto Twitter, and if you want to do the opposite, some positive reinforcement, just message Tony P or tweet Tony P from War Scroll Builder and just go, "You're great. Please continue." If anything, I kind of want to form an Age of Sigmar style bodyguard around Tony P. When he's at events, I'm like, "Excuse me, don't get too close."
It's just Nathan, you, and Dayton that are just standing around with sunglasses on behind
just
Tony.
making sure he's safe. Yeah, just if he breaks his fingers, we will never know what the points are for this entire game. We're in so much trouble.
He's cutting his food, and you're like, no, sir, I got that. Don't worry about it.
Oh, can I quickly sidestep very quickly because this is really important.
Yeah.
Thanks to Grummelslag for bringing it up. I don't know if anyone knows anything about the stock market, but if anyone's been tuning into the Warhammer Stonks section of either the 40K or the Age of Sigmar show, where we suggest stuff that you should.
By the way,
thank you so much. Thank you. Stuff that you could sell because its price is currently really high, or stuff that you should buy because its price is really low and it'll get better recently. So this has all really come because I browsed Reddit way too much, and there's a subreddit called Wall Street Bets. And Wall Street Bets is a very similar thing where people are doing Wall Street trading like they have done for years, but mainly through memes. Imagine people losing thousands of pounds in memes betting on the stock market. However, fun, GME to the moon. So if you guys aren't keeping up with the news, so there's the official stock market, obviously run by monsters, and then there's the meme lords, and the meme lords accidentally made, or intentionally made, most importantly, using the GameStop stock account, made the Wall Street dudes lose $5 billion recently by... oh no, sorry, 1.2 billion. 1.2 billion is how much. Normally they don't do that much. It's a short squeeze. So people who know more than me, and you guys might know more than me, but if you get an opportunity, yes, he is. Sorry again. If you guys get the opportunity, you guys should go read that story today. It should be trending on Twitter, or you just type in GameStop Wall Street Bets. Hilarious. Hopefully one day we could do the same thing. I like the idea that we can get enough people in the Warhammer Stonks, Warhammer Wall Street Bets, that all of us maybe I don't know, something comes out and we just buy all the Dragon Ogres, every single one on the planet. Yeah, all of us as a meme. Yeah, they'll be like, "There's no Dragon Ogres left." I'm like, "None. You can't get any more." Yeah.
Well, it'd have to be after COVID because right now that'd probably be 2 boxes and then they'd be out of stock, right? Because production.
Anyway, so sorry. So sorry that I was sidestepped for that, but it's a really fun little side story if you want to go and.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. What a sad unit to devalue. No, we wouldn't. Darren, we wouldn't be devaluing it. What we would do is because we've bought them all. Yeah, the price then obviously skyrockets for them. Yeah. For all Dragon Ogres, it skyrockets. Then we can pull them and sell them only as one lot. You can only buy all the Dragon Ogres or have no Dragon Ogres. That's the choice. Yeah. and sell them back to Games Workshop. They'll be like, we want to sell more Dragon Ogres. Like, ha ha ha, we have 8,000. Yeah? You must buy them for 100
You have
per
0.
Dragon Ogre.
And you have 0, so suck it.
I'd rather have none, says Riquetto. Oh dear. Inflated GameStop would be like doing stonks with Lotan. Yeah, I hear you. Right, so what other stuff was floating around from the FAQ to our FAQ QA administrator? Thank you, Joe. That's your new job title.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
The last one was because they did update some of the Marathi things, but they made an FAQ in the Marathi book or whatever. Yeah. They just missed all of the like spells and relics for Misthaven. Like they just like because like in the book, right? They didn't have battalions or relics to actually take the extra rules for.
Okay.
Because like there wasn't the spell lore, there wasn't the extra relics, or there wasn't like battalions for them. So they have rules that just like the idolaters you can't actually use in the game because all the battalions and cities are locked to all of their factions, right?
Yeah.
So you actually can't take a battalion in the book that would let them like actually use their like extra drugs or whatever they have, right?
Yeah. So if you run Misthaven, you can't use any battalions at all. Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
And then I think they also have like a spell lore thing too that there's no spell lore for, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Was it? I think that was. Is it the spell lore or is it the? I don't even remember. I don't know. It's just like more. I just don't care enough about them.
I mean, Games Workshop don't. Like, it's one of the things that made me laugh. Some comment, maybe on the YouTube, someone was like, "Oh, it's so disheartening to see you guys review this game. You clearly don't like it loads." I was like, "It's the opposite reason, you dumb fuck. I love the game." Yeah, they're like,
"Do you want me to bring my computer on my house to show you like how much I actually love this game? Because like I can, mobile and
like I love this game." So when they're like, "We brought out a brand new city," and I'm like, "I'm so excited," they're like, "But it doesn't. You can't play it in the game." You're like, "What? What the fuck?" I mean, one of the exciting bits about Gone Maths Heavy with this one. Thank you so much, Suzuki, for donating £14.96, which means we're at 426.76 106.69. Or is that like a prime number? Fucking hell. I'm getting sweaty. I don't understand what's happening. But appreciate using your notes.
You have to open the door here in a second. Just cool off a bit.
Right, so my point is the one exciting thing about the FAQ is that you can put marks on all the idolaters units now. So you can take some chaos dudes and you can marks. So at least it's actually
really fun. Really fun.
Yeah,
actually.
that is really fun, but like feels like that's exactly what like you can't like the big winter FAQ shouldn't. Oh my god, doesn't matter. Keep going QA. Keep going QA department. What else is missing?
Oh, I mean that's all I had. But I wrote that at like 2 a.m. after sleeping for 3 hours. So like that's all you guys get today. Maybe I can do a round 2 the next time we get something. But for now, that's where we're at.
To be fair,
we can just talk about the chat.
That's a positive amount that you've helped us out. So if we could all thank Joe for bringing that. I guess one of the things that we didn't do on Monday's show was ask everyone else what they thought. So Twitch chat, like, I would like to know your thoughts, like whether they're roundabout thoughts or questions. I guess it's super hard, Joe, to like already feel like we're second fiddle to another game, right? Which is rough.
Yeah.
Like, and I get it. Heresy guys are like, "Are we a joke to you?" And then the Lord of the Rings guys are like, "How dare you? Yeah, where were you when our FAQ never
Lord of the
fell?"
Rings got the smog model, so they can chill for a while now.
Yeah, maybe. But like it's a tough feeling, especially to stay motivated in the hobby. Like that's why I ended the show on Monday talking about how much like the hobby is the most not the hobby, the community is the thing that's most exciting for me. And actually, I feel like I've said this before as well, and I know that you were there in the beginning when Age of Sigmar like got wrecked. Well, not Age of Sigmar, the old world got wrecked, and we moved over. Like we're a hilarious community, right? That will just do like really funny shit. And I think like I think being angry is fine, and I completely respect and agree with that. in some ways, and I think we should like definitely make that protest heard as much as possible. But being funny hurts way more. Like, we just need to like learn how to like make a joke out of them. Like, you know, like next time they release an article, just be like, "There's no data for this ever, not one time." Like, they put out like if they put out a questionnaire, just fill every field in with no data. Yeah, like just be a child about it, because fuck them. Like, like, we're a funny community. We could make so many good pictures, yeah, about so many different things. And, you know, next time they do a live stream, just be like, "There's no data for this." But we can have a great time with it. Okay, so so we just get to have some fun. Be a child because we play with war dollies. We're also a really creative group. Like, I think, I don't know about you, we're a creative group. Like, be that memes, be that like in jokes, be that stories. I think we're like such a funny group of people. Like, and I'm not like we, like I'm funny. Like everyone, everyone in the chat always makes me laugh. Like we said at the start, right? The chat's live, yeah, and they're hilarious. Then Twitter live, Facebook less funny. The Facebook guys are way less funny. I'm just gonna put that out there. Not sure why, but some
because
of them
it's Facebook.
Maybe
Probably.
it is. Yeah. Let's email
Like, I'm on
them
the Facebook group, but like,
I like Tim Wheelsbarrow's idea of us. Let's email them the results of every game we play. Big data, but not. I love that, but in no way collated. Just, hey, I won a game today with this list versus this list. Here's the results. Fire the email every time from every person.
Could you imagine their inbox tomorrow?
No text, no tables, just screenshots of results written down on paper. Rob 7, Joe 9, photo, email, Joe 1. There's some data. Or letters. Handwritten letters is also good. Handwritten lists is also really good on napkins. But also not the names. Just like six fish, 6 more fish, one turtle, pointy man.
Have you ever gone through old notebooks back when you, for some reason, I suppose you're newer to the hobby, but like I've gone through like notebooks from like high school where I've wrote army lists in the book, but I only wrote it in points at the time. Yeah. So like, looking at it now, I'm just like, I have no idea what the fuck I'm looking at, but it equals 2,000 points. So I was going somewhere with this, I guess. But like, that's it. There's no unit title. There's no like, this was a troop choice. Nothing. It's just like 120, 360 of like, okay, like, all right.
I don't know. What's everyone else got to say in the chat? MJ Pickers, I've done my raging now, channel my energy into building my army and getting more TTS in the meantime. That's the right way. They are just numbing us for the lack of significant change balances coming to AX3. It's suitable expectation management. Oh no, that's rough. Please don't be that. It's just important people don't cross the line and start cyberbullying games with Staffer Association. Those guys can fuck off a cliff. Mick, I agree with you 100%. I would say though, like I talked about this yesterday, one of the things that they could invest in very significantly with all the money that they're making is good community managers. Like good community managers, like people who understand how to communicate with people, like online, like are whole jobs that people have. Yeah, whole jobs. And unfortunately, Warcom just don't have that because they either just hide responses or they just ignore you. You know, like and that's not good community engagement or management. Like, and ultimately, when something like this is put out, the conversation really should be. I mean, like, look with Indomitus as a good example. Indomitus they released and they sold out, and everyone was livid. So they're like, cool, we're going to make some more. Great community engagement. Yeah, that works, right? Like, okay, sweet. Iron Hands are busted. They're like, no problem, we got you back. We'll sort this out. Great community engagement. I'll hold my hands up when they're smashing it. Yeah, when they do something positive, I'll throw my hands up. I mean, you shouldn't have got through QA in some of those situations, and stock levels can be managed, but that's a different conversation.
Host. 2 books in a row.
Ignore change host, please. Like, but yeah. But yeah, or they could invest in a free Twitter account. That's good. That is Games Workshop community instead of using named individuals. I agree with that absolutely. What's this, Rob? You can't expect Games Workshop to actually work like 21st century company and actually staff appropriate positions. That's crazy. I know. Anyway, Anyway, so but my point was when it's the company's mismanagement of several things, but more specifically how they engage with their community is what I think leads to the like unnecessary attacks that we see. Like, whereas there are is genuinely valid concern, like absolutely valid concern, and like it's unfair to think that these people everyone in the HTML community is aware that the FAQ was rubbish. It was a bad job done, yeah, and it was an undelivered promise, right? But imagine obfuscating for that and saying, imagine like being an employee and going, you guys are all wrong. It was a great job we did that. That's going to piss you off. Like, it would piss me off. Like, had I not blocked all of these people while I worked at Games Workshop, I'd like to clarify, like, way before I even left, all of those people who we're talking about blocked. Blocked them all. I was like, block. You're all fucking cunts. Right? Blocked them all. Not John Bracken. I love John Bracken. John Bracken's brilliant. So just blah, 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 blah. Right? And then, so I don't hear any of this shit. So I don't have to listen to it. Because it's just, it's terrible. Like, it's terrible community management. And also, like, rude. Imagine showing your face at an event and being like, remember when I said that FAQ was great? It was like, did you? It's fucking bang out of order. You're a bit of a weasel, you are. I don't trust you with anything. But that's my thoughts.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of harkens back to, like, when you said that you played a game against, like, the community manager before they had one or whatever, and you're like, that guy was just, like, rude the whole time we played. And then, like, the TO was like, no, you can't do that. Like, you can't say the GW employee is, like, a negative person to play against. And you're like, but he was. And they're like, no, but yeah, but he worked for the company. And you're just like, oh, like, my bad. Like you can't, like, the fact that they're just, like, defending the bad behavior or the people that are, you know, that are doing the bad behavior. You just can't actually, like if you're trying to actually, you know, like, talk about what's going on and then everything just gets defended, like you're the problem. It's like, yeah, like, maybe the game was sour because both of you guys were sour, but at the same time, like, when you are the face of the company or of a division, right? Like, when a division falters in, like, any other business, you need a, like, it's the head of that, like, division is primarily at fault, and then, you know, he gets in trouble, and then everyone else below him can get in trouble or not or whatever. But a lot of the times, like, those head people are the ones that get replaced first when the entire thing falters, right? Because, like, they're supposed to be leading and managing everyone, but if they can't, like, the company then just cuts
also
cuts the head off the snake.
Also,
right?
this community would chomp at the bit, yeah, right. Like, this community would chomp at the bit for anyone who was just like on the front lines with them. Like, it reminds me of, like, Blackadder, right? Like, Melchit's at the back, like, Blackadder, time to jump over that, like. Whereas, like, the lad who's at the front line with you, like, you get it. You're in the same team. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, this FAQ's bang out of order. We'll get it sorted. Don't worry about it. Like, you know, leadership requires, like, community management generally requires leadership. And generally, And you also need to generally be a genuine person about it. Otherwise, it just doesn't work because people will just think you're a piece of shit. Like, that's how it generally, because people are quick. But also, this community, though, is super, super friendly. If you even gave us an iota of a chance, if you're even, like, half a good person, look at me. I'm a mouthy wanker all the time. Mick in the chat, mouthy wanker all the time. Yeah? But fucking, I think I'm an okay person. I know Mick's fucking lovely as you can get, right? And generally, like, if given half a chance, the community will embrace you, like, open arms, you know? And I think that's really good. And, like, and again, why I love the game, and I'm not going to leave the game or, like, stop, like, playing, because they can't upset me. Like, they can't upset me. If anything, it's funny, Joe, at this point. Like, I'm just like, this is great. Yeah? Like, I love the game because it's more of a meme than the game. Does that make sense?
Yeah, which like, I definitely understand, like which is totally true, which I get that, like, you know, like, if I was really into something else and someone was like, yeah, but that's, like, a joke, like, you're not supposed to actually be into that, and I was really into it, yeah, I'd be offended, right? But, like, when that statement comes from, like, the head designers, like, this could be an esport right now, like the T-sport, esport, whatever, right? Like, definitely could be. But then when there's people that are in, like, the lead roles, they're just like, no, we don't want it to be that. We think it's going to be, like, we think that that's bad. And it's like, no, like, what are you talking about? Like, you don't want thousands of people to be watching your stream playing your game. Like more people, right? Like people that don't even play the game could be watching your streams and being like actually like into it. Because how many football players or American football players, like how many people actually play the game in their spare time compared to how many people that actually watch that shit, right?
Yeah.
Tons.
Agreed. Yeah, I've talked
Tons,
about
like,
this before. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know, and I know me and you are super on board with like the same line, like in that sand, and it's just like there could be so much more, and that's why like people get upset. It's like we know it could be more. We were promised more, and then it just doesn't.
Well, so
I sent you a
positive,
picture.
so to try and like round it up in a positive place at the end. So one of the things that I'm going to have on next week is I'm going to have Simon Hall. Simon Hall is collating a bunch of community points changes. Now, I'm not really one for comp, and I've said this time and time again, or even, but the Age of Sigmar started as a community-driven points change game. Age of Sigmar started, like, what's amazing is they're like, oh, we won't help Age of Sigmar out because we're dealing with 40k, and I'm like, did you just put objective-based gaming in 40k where you score? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, which you ripped off from Age of Sigmar, which you ripped off from Mocomp, which he ripped off from Malifaux. Yeah? Right? That's what you're playing. You're now playing 40k Malifaux. They're like, no, we're not. It's like, yes, you are. Like, you don't know. Like, so it's interesting because the Age of Sigmar community is started out as an adaptive group. Started out as a group. That's why we need the base sizes, right? Like, and so I think one of the interesting things about that, whether or not it takes off or becomes a thing, it's interesting. Simon collating all of those points changes and seeing what the community thinks and feels on. I think that's a very interesting kind of conversation in the future. I mean, it's always hard because it's always a bit arbitrary, right? I already saw like Marathi got up 50 points, let's say, and I saw someone push back on that because no one likes their stuff getting points up. But like someone said to me, like, "Hey, we're going to put Cygors down to like," I think someone suggested 80 points, and I was just like, whatever. Like, I don't care. Like, whereas like the guys with Cygors are like, yes, I'm gonna run 4 Cygors, and you're like, crack on, lads, they suck. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it is a bit weird that we just let a company let our stuff suck. The Corn Dragon is a good example to fly back to it. It's a really good example that the company are like, this is beautiful, but it sucks. And you're like, oh, that's weird. Like, how about we don't?
It's
do
like
that?
500 US. Why? Like
what cash?
600 US. Like I'll look it up right now. Like see how much he is in the US because it's a lot. Like, and it's a gorgeous model. Like I love dragons. Like in all things. Like that's why the Smog thing is great. Like the Helldrakes are great. And it's like, oh, is it not even? Oh, sorry. Going to Forge World, the Age of Sigmar link is at the bottom after new. It's 40k Horse Heresy box games, new Sigmar Middle Earth. Nice. Well done. All right. What is he? $610 right now for the Corn Dragon. And
and if you wanted to buy him and play with him, you're like, he doesn't really work in the game. But if you bought him and then the community were like if the community were like, also another thing, I don't want to talk about base sizes too much, but the Dread Saurian, if we were just like the Dread Saurian goes on a 160 mil base, that doesn't break the game. Doesn't break the game at all. Yeah, their current base size is some weird, doesn't exist in real life base size. Yeah, like people have to like
how big
get
that
custom made. Huh?
Do you actually know how big that base is?
No.
It's big enough that at its smallest like point across, the Bloodstoker still can't whip the dragon at wholly within 8 inches.
Whereas my first community comp would be Dread Saurian and the Corn Dragon on a 160 mil base, right? And the uproar that would cost would be 0%. No one in the world would be like, everyone would be like, I don't give a fuck. Like, none. But there'd be a couple of guys. There's a guy who I know in Mexico who played with it at Adepticon. He might strip naked and run through the street. Yeah? He might just get He'd just get naked. He'd be like, yes! Yes! Right? And everyone in the community would be like, is that a Corn Dragon? I'd be like, yeah. I'd be like, that seems like a pretty fine base. What is it, 160? I'd be like, yeah, cool, whatever. Like, you're going to lose because a Ghoul King and Terror guys kill it. You'd be like, yeah, I know, but it looks awesome, right? Anyway.
Or, 10 Executioners back in the day, whichever.
Whatever. Right. Twitch chat, you've been super kind with the donations. I can't thank you enough. Don't forget, if you are subscribed on Twitch and or Patreon, I've been going pretty mad on the 3D printing. So there's a 3D printed model winging away to a winner, which I'll announce towards the end of the month, which I know is very soon. So thank you to you guys for that. And you guys basically pay for resin so that I can produce those. So that's super awesome of you and deeply appreciated. Thank you very much. I hope you guys have had a laugh. I know it's been like a crappy year, crappy time, and then this hasn't been a particularly fun experience. But I think we can turn it fun. I think that's the opportunity. If we can find an opportunity to make it into something fun and ridiculous, please obviously do email any of your game results to Games Workshop, FAQ, PLC, whatever the fuck it's called. That is great. The chat's great. You're great. Joe, thanks for being on the show. Really appreciate it. Thanks for taking up your new job as the FAQ QA guy.
It's all for the community, man. Rodrigo is his name.
The man who plays the Core Dragon.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wait till we tell him we've officially decided that he's allowed Corn Dragon on a 160. Fucking reports. A man in Mexico today started running naked through, I don't know, like wherever the fuck he lives. I do know something about him. He lives opposite a tequila factory. He's like, I live opposite a tequila factory. Come. And I'm like, oh, I don't drink. It's so wasted on me. That sounds great. Thank you to everyone in the chat. I'm just off to go check my DMs for that Centaur Goddess lady. Joe, thanks for being on the show. Thanks to everyone who listens to the podcast. Look after yourselves. See you guys.